At the orphanage, there was only one rule. Don't make a sound when it comes. Stay in your bed, keep quiet, and keep your eyes tight shut. Hi, my name is Shar, and this is the And Other Stories podcast, where I tell spooky stories of the supernatural and criminal, both real and fictional. Let's get into today's story. The Orphanage. I could have watched it for hours. The farmhouse was up near the corner of the frame, beige walls with a green roof, tools and hay bales leaning on it, and the thing that most captivated me, the many-paned window on the front of the house, slightly open and pitch black inside. I would run my finger along the paint strokes, close enough to see the different patches of colour, until Matron walked down the hallway and scolded me, telling me to go back to the dormitory. That night there was a new one. A small, quiet girl who was given the bunk at the end. They were always given the bunk at the end. It was in bed, lights off, God help you if you talked. But I could see this one wouldn't be a talker. Maybe she'd be okay. Matron looked around one more time before she flicked the switch and we were plunged into darkness. My eyes taking a minute to adjust to the dim light that came in through the large window halfway along the room. I always wanted to see when it came. We all knew not to make a sound, to shut our eyes tight and wait for it to make its choice. I tried to slow my breathing as the minutes ticked by, knowing that the time of its arrival was drawing close. It started with a gentle creak. The pointed fingers curled around the slightly open door and pushed it open with a breeze, as if the wind had blown it open. Then it started to drift in. With a stoop through the doorway, its cloaked head almost touched the ceiling as it glided silently down the middle of the rows of beds. I heard it whisper as it passed me, the sound of many voices intertwining, swirling and hissing. But I knew it would not stop at me. It had only done that once, on my first night, and I had heard many whispers of "no" before it had moved to another bed. It drifted past me quickly and straight to the end of the room, as if it knew there was someone new tonight. "Don't scream, don't scream, don't scream," I silently urged her in my head. I dared to peek under my eyelashes. It stood leaning over her bed. I could see the blanket shaking as she saw what was standing next to her. But she was staying quiet. She might be left alone. I was starting to feel hopeful until it leaned down closer to her and she let out the slightest squeak, as if her fear involuntarily escaped her. A deep hiss emanated from the cloak, and a swish followed as it drew one side open and swooped on the girl. I squeezed my eyes tight shut once more, and I heard the drag of the cloak along the ground, before the squeak of the door once more, and then silence. The next day, I went back to the painting. My eyes went straight to the farmhouse window. A small face peeking out from the darkness, sad and lost. The rosy paint for her cheeks was cracked and old, as if it had been there for decades, painted with the scene 100 years ago. The face of the little girl. I looked as well to the painted white geese feeding in the courtyard by the girl who had appeared there last week. I stroked the paintbrush lines of the swing in the garden. A girl sat on it looking down at the ground. She had been there for a while. My eyes couldn't help but move to the woods in the background, and between the branches, barely visible, as it had always been, the tall, dark figure, cloaked in black from head to toe. There was no one new that night. Just an empty bed, and only 6 of us left. We all looked at each other silently before Matron came in to switch the lights off. She looked around at us and at the empty beds before she said, "Good night, children. Don't make a sound." Thank you for listening. I hope you liked it. My name is Shar, and this is the And Other Stories podcast. See you next time.